Hi, welcome to the channel. I was right in the middle of filming my Is Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass Worth It video when some little news broke out. Figured I'd throw out a quick video about it with some speculation and some, just kind of bring you up to speed, because sometimes the stuff gets lost in the internet ether. But if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. I will have a video on all the ins and outs of the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack coming out either Friday or Monday. This video kind of jumped ahead of it, so subscribe if you want to see that, or check out any of my other stuff. I do a lot of retro things. I mod some consoles. I talk about hardware, controllers, so welcome. I hope to see you again. Yeah. All right, let's do it. So if you are in the Nintendo ecosystem, you probably know that the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack came out last night, Monday night, October 25th, to somewhat mixed reactions. First of all, the price. It had tens of thousands of downvotes on YouTube when the price was announced. And then the emulation is a little bit weird. Controls are strange where you can't remap them. Lots of N64 style controllers don't work with this. They even changed the controls for Mario 64 between the Super Mario 3D All-Stars and the Nintendo Switch Online version of Mario 64, which is strange. But anyway, one of the big complaints was the price to benefit comparison ratio of games that you're getting. Well, it just came out right now through... I have to give a shout out to Mondo Mega on Twitter. Link to the post will be in the description if you want to follow along as I go through this. Initial data mining from the N64 app is somewhat fruitful. Going by the game IDs, there are at least 38 Nintendo 64 titles planned for the Nintendo Switch Online. The list is alphabetical, so you can fill in some of the gaps already. He continues, but there's also 52 Genesis games according to the IDs of the games already released. So based on what games came out on the consoles, you can start narrowing down which games could be in these gaps based on the game ID. So as we go through, for example, the first game on N64, it has the ID of 7, which means there's 6 games alphabetically before Dr. Mario 64, which is Japanese alphabetical. For example, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is the last game on this list, because in Japan it's Zelda no Densetsu, because in Japan it's titled Zelda no Densetsu, because in Japan Legend of Zelda is Zelda no Densetsu. That took me 40 times to say, but that's why it's alphabetically last. So Mondo Mega predicts the ID 37 is Majora's Mask, 32 could be Smash Brothers, 33 Wave Race, and they predicted that 14 through 16 are Mario Party, etc., which there's a couple games that could fit into there. Looking through, so the concept of Smash 64, like the original Super Smash Brothers coming out, there's a spot that could be on there. Also, I should note that the games that have already been announced that haven't come out yet, those all have potential places in these holes. It aligns with that schedule. I should note that this could be 2 years down the road that we start getting these. No one's saying that these are going to come out immediately, especially with online play, the features that have to be built into it, because we know they didn't add any visual or performance improvements to the emulation. So people are guessing Donkey Kong, Custom Robo, maybe Snowboard Kids. I don't think that we'll see GoldenEye, but there is some room for perhaps another Pokemon game. I'd hope for 1080 snowboarding. There's 6 games in front of Dr. Mario. So yeah, going from 9 titles to 38 titles definitely changes things when it comes to value for specifically the N64 side. Now let's move over to the Genesis side, where there's a whopping 52 ID'd games that we can start filling in the blanks on. Sega! So Streets of Rage 2 is ID 3, Contra is ID 7, Echo the Dolphins ID 12. So the first 3 alphabetically in Japanese, there's 9 other games that are going to be in between those. There's a huge chunk. There's 9 full spaces between Gunstar Heroes and Musha. So all sorts of games can be in between G and M. There's also tons of space around Sonic 2, which is the only one that released. There's a ton of spaces in front of Sonic 2 and 2 spaces after Sonic 2, which could mean Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, potentially. That would be awesome. Or they could do, like, there could be Sonic and Knuckles with other games. Like, for example, Castlevania Bloodlines is ID 52, but in Japan, it's called Vampire Killer. So that's why it's the last alphabetically, which I don't know how many Genesis games come alphabetically after V that are notable. Maybe Vector Man. So there could be more than 52 games. We just know the ID of the last game that is actually available currently. There could be more than 52 games. Also, we should note that of the Genesis games are all Sega, except for one Konami game and one Capcom game. So we could be getting more third-party games coming on the Genesis. And then with the N64, it's all Nintendo except for Winback, great game, which is Koei Tecmo, or Koei. But we could get more third-party games for the N64, potentially. Nintendo doesn't like paying royalties, which is why Genesis as a subscription was such a surprise for everyone, and some people are speculating that that's why the price is so high. I don't know if that's true, but I know that they are probably withholding games to build up the platform so that they don't have to pay these royalties. They probably already agreed to what they're paying per title, and so if they release all these up front, while it would be a lot more popular, people might get burnt out. They can elongate this for years, potentially, with all these games coming in. Now, last thing is that not only do the games have ID numbers, but the consoles have ID numbers. So the NES is 1, the SNES is 2, the N64 is 3, and the Sega Genesis is 5, meaning that Game Boy rumor could definitely be coming back around, that we would get some Game Boy Color games, maybe Game Boy Advance. I wouldn't hold my breath, but they leapfrogged a console ID in the data for this. So what do you think? Do you think having a much larger library of these games makes the value more appealing? Are the drawbacks in the software, the emulation, the unknowns that we're still dealing with this new service, the bad online experience with Nintendo Online in general, the lack of messaging and voice chat, performance, stuff like that, is that a deal breaker? Let me know in the comments. Again, if this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Throw a subscribe, a like, comment. I appreciate you. I will have my video coming out about more in depth with the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack coming out in a couple days. But thank you. Have a good night. Go play some games, even if they run poorly or whatever. Have fun. Go play Mario Kart 64 with your friends. Cheers. Exhale, exhale. I miss the Prodigy. Bye.